Greetings, Internet! On this episode of From the Basement, we're going to take a look at the different kinds of maps that are available and how do you transition between the maps. There are two primary categories of maps that you can use in the Foundry: Adventure Zones and Custom Maps. Adventure Zones are the public adventuring areas that you can get to in the main game. The Black Lake District, Tower District, so on and so forth. These areas you have very little control over. In fact, I'd say you have pretty much no control over them. You can't change things. There are predefined objects that you can interact with, and there are predefined NPCs that you can talk with, but that's pretty much the limit of your control abilities. The public adventure zones are primarily used as sort of launching points, starting points for quests. The other kind of maps that you can create are custom maps. This includes indoor and outdoor maps, and also includes custom blank maps and pre-made maps that Cryptic has made available. Many of the pre-made maps are also duplicates of existing Cryptic content. For example, the Black Lake District, you can either use the Adventure Zone, which is the live public area, or you can use a pre-made version of the zone, which has pretty much all the NPCs and interactable objects already taken out, but you can at least have your adventure take place in the Black Lake District as long as you're willing to put in the extra stuff. So those are the two primary types and their subtypes. So let's take a look at how we can transition between them. So we're going to use our little testing area that we've been using in the previous videos as our launching point for this, so that way we don't have to go through and kill all the kobolds to get to our testing point here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, you can add in maps by clicking on these plus map buttons. You can add it at any point. I could insert a new map here before the Dungeon of Doom. I could insert it between Dungeon of Doom and Meep, or after. I'm going to go ahead and do after. And when you do this, it'll prompt you to enter in a series of different maps. Now I've got some clutter in here from not properly clearing out my maps from previous tests. So I'm going to just go ahead and select a new map. So insert a Neverwinter Adventure Zone map. Now it does not prompt me which map I want to use. And if I click on this, notice I don't have any options here as to how to set which map this is. We do that in a different step. I am also going to add in a new custom map, and I'm going to use one of their pre-mates, Barrow of the Downed Keen, an indoor pre-made, which I will call this Test Map A. Now when you enter in the map name, you either have to click off it or hit enter to get the little warning sign to go away so that you can create it. And then I'm also going to add a custom map outdoor, and I'm going to go ahead and select, there should be a small, let's do a small city street. And we'll call this Test Map B. Enter create. So now I've got some additional map transitions. Now you've got to do something in a map in order to enable the transition from map to map. You can't just simply have a map that you do a drive-by through. So in all these I'm going to do interact object to show the difference in how this works between the maps. Now for the Adventure Zone map, I can't place anything. Instead what I do is I select component, and here is how you set where this map takes place. I can choose from any of the public districts. This is also a convenient way to level gate your content. Say you want to ensure that someone lower than level 10 does not start playing your map. You can go into the Tower District here and select something away from this main entrance area. So say if we select this well down here in the combat area, at least the players are going to have to adventure through some of the zone before they get to this point, hopefully keeping away level 5s. But since by default when we transition out of our map, do the Foundry testing, we're going to be in Protector's Enclave, so let's choose something out of Protector's Enclave. And let's see here, adventurers, they really need to take a bath, so we'll do the Temple Steps Fountain, because that's right about there is where we're going to spawn in. And we'll call this objective Take a Bath. Alright. Next, we have to specify how we're going to transition into this out of this map and into the next map. So I am going to choose Map Transition and Leave From. Now, if you select Use Overworld Map, that is going to prompt the player to choose the location from the overworld map. Generally speaking, well, I guess I'm sort of interjecting personal opinion here. My personal opinion is that while you're within a Foundry created quest, you probably want to avoid bringing up the overworld map multiple times unless it really makes sense for your quest. And even then, I would argue that if it makes sense to start bringing up the overworld map again, maybe you should split this out into multiple quests and turn it into a campaign. That's pretty much personal preference there, but I would recommend leaving this at false and choosing, a smoother transition. So again, I can't place anything, and there's nothing that says I have to put this in the same place. I could, very easily choose Velosk and choose this right here, and the player would be forced to go to Protector's Enclave, take a bath, and then come all the way over to this zone to use my adventure. By the way, doing things like that, probably not a good way to keep players. So I'm going to go back to the Protector's Enclave, and let's explore this barrel. It's a mysterious-looking barrel. We need to explore it. Silliness aside, I'm just simply choosing this to show that it really doesn't matter what object you choose. Any of the available objects can be used as a transition point. So we shall explore the barrel, if I can type properly. Okay. Now, for this map here, this is a custom map. So if I go to select details, it says no components available. Now, even though this is a pre-made map, I still don't have any predefined detailed objects. So let's hop over to test map A. And see there's quite a bit that's actually been predefined in this map, but I can't use any of it. The thing with the pre-mades is that while you can add to them, you can't interact with anything that's already existing, and you cannot modify anything that is already existing. So as this map stands right now, I can't touch it. I can't alter anything, I can't use anything that's on here. I'm going to have to drop in some detail objects. So we'll just use our standby anvil, drag it in right here. We'll call this anvil. And go over to our story mode and call this poke the anvil. And then we need to transition out of here. So we could technically use the same object that feels lazy and just not right to me. So we'll come over here and, ooh yes, small bag. We need to explore this small bag. Let's call it a magic bag. Why not? And so we'll come back over here to our map transition, leave from, and expand this out, and then I can see all of my detail objects that I can choose as a departure point. I'm going to choose magic bag, click OK, and we're done with that one. Now, same thing with this one. There's tons of little not interactive elements, but detail elements that are built into this map, but I can't use them because, again, this concept of, they're placed here for me. I can add to this map. I can't take away from it. So this time, actually, I wanted to use not an interact with object, but rather a reach point. I plan on talking more about markers in a different video, but reach point, you might get confused by markers and think that you can drag in a marker to use that. No, you can't. Remember, for all interact with objects and kill encounters and things like that, you've got to pull it off of your unplaced components list. So I can drag this over, which is effectively a place marker. It's just one that's been linked to the story element. And we'll put this over here at the treasure chest, pull the player out a little bit so that way we're not just instantly fulfilling this. Give it the objective text of go there, and then once you go there, it'll clear. So let's take a quick gander to see how all of this works. So map, let's change back over to test. Oop, nope, wrong test. Meep. And we'll do play map. Oh, and it looks like I've got a little bug here. Let's see if Control R to reset will get me out. And of course I died. Release. There we go. Okay. Little testing oddities aside. And yes, I have a guardhouse in the middle of the dungeon. There's nothing that says that you can't put houses, which are detail elements, in indoor maps. Now, you can't put rooms in outdoor maps, unfortunately. That would be actually kind of cool if you could, but nope, you can't. So I'll interact with the anvil, which then, well, that was supposed to enable the guardhouse, but I forgot to come back in here and set this up. Never do this to your players, by the way. Having press F to go to next map is just horribly unprofessional. Don't do it to your players. You catch bugs like that, go back and fix them. In the interest of cutting back on loading times, we'll just go ahead and go to the next map. So here we are back in the Foundry shard of the Protector's Enclave.
Patron deity, and you shall be rewarded.
And I need to take a bath. And with that done, I have a sparkle trail now leading me over to this very mysterious barrel. It'll then transition me over to the next map. And here we can see what I'm talking about a little bit. There's lots of, little bits and pieces of detail elements in here. I just can't really use them, so I'm going to interact with the anvil. Where's my bag? There's the magic bag. Go to the next map. And again, the only real difference between indoor and outdoor maps, because I am now in an outdoor map, is that I got too close and already triggered that. Is that outdoor maps you cannot place room kits. That's it. And that is transitioning between different maps, and go Foundry character, you leveled up. Not that it does you any good because you're still, crippled. And so that is map transitioning. Return to Foundry. So again, the general setup on this story tab, you create your maps. You need to make sure you set your map transitions. This is the one that I am missing right now. I originally planned to have this set to the guardhouse. So you, just again a lightning fast review, you create the map, choose whether you want an adventure zone or a custom map. If you're choosing a custom map, you choose between indoor, outdoor, and whether or not you want a blank or you want a pre-made. Outdoor maps have blanks as well. If I go here to empty, I've got a variety of empty maps that I can use to try and create my own adventures. Be forewarned, creating an outdoor map is considerably more work intensive than creating a good indoor map, so be aware of that. Upon choosing the appropriate map that you want, you must give it a name. Create it. Set your map transition. The map transition here is referring to the previous map, which I can't do right now because I have no components on that particular map. And then go back over to the maps folder, or the Maps tab, and you can select your map and edit it and create it and set it up how you want. And that'll be it for this video. Until next time.